other students asking them people that are access to make me every night. Oh my god, maybe. Oh yeah, I think it's fun. The rest of
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Food Analysis. Let me tell you, this is the smallest class I ever had in food analysis. So it's going to be an intimate, much more one-on-one. And don't be shy. There will be a lot of participation in the class. And if you want to sit there all the time, you might not be able to look at you. You can say whatever you want. So I would like to start with some introduction. So a lot of the time that we're going to spend today is introducing to the class, what we're going to be covering, and start a little bit of introductions. Okay. All right. So first of all, I'm Pam Ismail. For those of you that don't know me, so I've been in this department or Department of Food Science and Nutrition for 18 years. A little less than how old each one of you are. So, and I'm also director of the Plant Protein Innovation Center, which you might have heard of as well. I have a large research group, so you might have met some of them. And also I have a few of my favorite sayings that also are in my signature. I'm a very positive person. I would like to always think that the cup is half full and you can fill it. There's no half empty or empty glass. So that's something that you'll notice is I always take the positive side of things. And I'm always ready for anything, but am I prepared? Who knows? We'll find out. I try to be prepared for things. So that's a little bit about me here, but in terms of family, I have one daughter. She graduated last year. She's 1 year older than most of you who are seniors. And she just got married this year. So all done. Oh, I have a dog. She's very cute, but you can't see her. There she is. She's a golden doodle. This is an older picture of her. She's a little bigger than that. She's 8 years old. This was when she was a little bit of a puppy. And I have cats, lots of them, but we just lost our elderly cat, the tabby. He died in April. He was 20 years old. He was a very ancient cat, but we loved him and he lived a very long life. And now we have two mischievous black cats, our brothers. And a little bit of what I like. I love to watch movies. Some of the classic favorites of mine. Analyze This. If you have not watched it, I recommend it. It's very funny. And When Harry Met Sally. So I'm old. So obviously the 80s, 90s movies. And Shrek. Who doesn't like Shrek? I mean, I almost know it by heart. All four of them. There's a fifth one coming, I heard. I love to cook. These are some of my favorites. I cook spinach. This is a spinach pastry, grape leaves stuffed with veggies and some potatoes on top. And I love to play tennis. I'm very competitive as well. So that's a little bit about me. I look forward to learning a little bit about you as the semester goes by. I'll get to know you. I will be taking attendance personally until I know each one of you. And then I'll hand that over to the team, who I will introduce in a little bit. So we have a Canvas website. A lot of the handouts related to the class are on the website. I hope you had a chance to navigate. If not, that's fine. We're just starting. So I'll walk you through the Canvas and how to navigate it in a little bit. But I would like to introduce key people. So there is 14 of you, and then we have 5 lab help people or TAs in the class. So it's a very heavy class in terms of lecture and lab. A lot of learning happens in the lab. That's why we have wonderful support. I'll start with Kelly. You want to introduce yourself? Yeah. So last year she sat on a little bit in the lab, and this year she'll lead the coordination of the lab. But we also have wonderful TAs. See?
I'm PhD student, so I'll be one of your TAs this semester. Just don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Yes, and Yi was a student in this class a few years ago. Vici.
I'm a second year master's student in permanent lessons class, so we're excited to be TA.
Yeah, first time TAing this class. Andresa.
I'm also a PhD student in Games Lab, for my second year. And also this is my second year being a TA for this class.
Experienced TA. Great.
My name is Grayson. I go by Gray. I'm a internet master student for George Framework, and I'll be your main grader. So I will make mistakes and will mess up. So if there are any mistakes that you see, please email me. Please let me know. Don't freak out and whatnot. So
Yeah. So Gray had lots of great ideas. He's fresh out of school. He did this class just last fall, and he did really well in the class and had super ideas to enhance learning. So tag, he's it. So I tagged him to be a TA because he gave great ideas. So, and he'll be the grader because the material is still fresh in his mind. But again, like he said, always ask. You can ask him directly. You can come to me as well. So we're all here to help you. We're all friendly. Yeah. So, okay, so instructors, so you're looking at her, so I'll be the main instructor, but we will have a guest lecturer, Gary Rhinexis. He has been a professor in this department for many decades. He's now retired, but he is the expert in gas chromatography and mass spectrometry. No matter how well I can teach this material, Gary is the icon. So you will get a treat. He will teach those two topics in this class. And you'll get to meet him if you have not yet already. So we have a textbook associated with this class. And guess what it's called? Food analysis. So it's everything I teach is in this in this book, and there is a chapter on every topic. Of course, the chapters are in more detail, so I don't cover everything. So whatever I cover in lecture is what you're responsible for, but you can go back to the textbook to learn more about it if you want to dig deeper. I recommend that you have the textbook. However, the library will have access to an online book. The only thing is when you graduate, you will lose your internet ID and all of that, and you won't be able to have access to your textbooks. It's a good resource to have, but again, you don't have to purchase. You can access through the library. Now, what I recommend strongly that you have a hard copy of is the lab. We use it entirely throughout the semester, and it's great to have your own. You write on it, you follow notes rather than holding a computer and going around in the lab with your computer. So it's better to have it, and it's also available to you online through the library, but it's better to have it. So these are the two textbooks associated with this class. You want the 6th edition of the textbook and the 4th edition of the manual because especially the manual, there's been a lot of edits. Do not get an older edition. So 3rd edition will not work. So you want to make sure you have the 4th edition of the manual. The textbook, if you have an older edition, that's okay, but it's not recommended. The 6th edition will be the recommended one. All right, so I want to walk you through the syllabus a little bit, but before that, I will orientate you with the Canvas, okay? If you have questions, ask at any time, okay? All right, let me go out of, no, escape for a little bit and, all right, so when you go to your course, the food analysis, this is what you will see as the main page, but almost everything you need is under modules. but then you will be needing the assignment page when you have a lab report due. For example, you will find it there under assignments. And the media gallery is another place that you will be visiting. We have videos related to the lab. So every week when we have a lab, we have an associated video that kind of orientates what the lab is about. So it will be very, well, you are asked to watch these videos. They're not very long, but it will orientate you, which is a good thing. And then the modules is where I want to show you where you will find things that you need for the class. So the upper part of the modules is what you will see. That is in green for me is what you will see. I posted those, so that's in green for me, but that's on your student view. So in this folder, we have the syllabus, the schedule, and the student learning outcome document. I'll talk about those in a minute. Lab information and guide. This is also important. You'll find general lab information there. I'll talk to you about it in a minute. And then every year, I post sample quizzes and exams. So I will click on it really quick here just to show you. These are all from last year. So quiz 1, quiz 2 with key, quiz 1, quiz 2, and then the same with key, and then the exam and also with key. The reason I have with and without key is for you when you study, I recommend that you go to the one that does not have the key, and you try to solve it after you study, and then you check the key to see your answers. So you will not have the same questions, obviously, on your quizzes and exam, but at least it gives you an idea of how the questions are. And if you study and you're able to answer those questions successfully, that means you're ready to take the exam or the quiz. All right. So we go back to modules. All right. Textbook study questions. So we have study questions at the end of each chapter in the textbook. They are all put together in one document. So for every chapter, you can go in and check if you are able comfortably to answer these questions. So later on in the semester, what we will do for every lab report, this is new. Last and previous years, every time you write a lab report, we wait until we grade the lab reports and we show you an example of a well-written lab report, but it would be for the previous week. So some students suggested, why don't you show us the example of the lab report that is due? Now, of course, we cannot show it to you because it has answers to questions, it has the data and the tables, and we want you to do the work. But we came up with this idea of showing you a skeleton of a lab report. So what tables would look like, what a figure would look like, how do you orientate, or what sections you need to have in the lab report. So every week before the due date, we will post kind of a layout of what the lab report will be. So Gray is in charge of that. He will be putting a layout, I will be reviewing it, and then we will post it. Once we start populating, it will be available for you. Every lab report comes with a set of questions. After you submit your lab report, we'll post the key. Why is that? Because the lab is a very important component of this class. A lot of times my quizzes, questions, and exams come from the lab material. So we post these keys or the keys to the questions, we post those because that will be a resource for you to study from. And then another thing that I will be posting is once your exam or quiz is graded, we will put the key up so you can review to see did Gray do a fair job? Did Pam review correctly? So you can come to us and say, well, I think my answer was right when I was deducted some point. You're always welcome to come talk to us about your grade. Okay. So And then another orientation for you every week has a section here. So you'll see lecture material. When you click on that, you'll find the slides for the week. So I have my 2 lectures for this week. Sometimes I don't get to lecture 2 the first week, but I do post it. And every week you'll see the lectures that will be presented. I try to put them on Friday. So you have all of the next week's lectures posted for you. The other thing that will be posted, I record. So I'm recording the lecture now. So you will see a recorded lecture in that particular week. So under lecture material, you'll see the recording. I'll talk about the project in a second. You don't have a project, but there used to be a project associated with the class. It was a very good learning experience, but it was a lot of work. Already the class is a lab and writing intensive. So students said, we don't want it anymore. So I listened. So I don't have it, but it's good for you to see what kind of project, if you're curious, but it's not part of this class anymore. And then every Wednesday, maybe this week it'll be a little delayed, but every Wednesday we'll open lab material folder that will have all the information you need to know before lab. This year, we only have lab on Wednesday. We used to have 2 sections, Monday and Wednesday. We don't this year, given the number of students. So every Wednesday, you'll get what you need. There is a pre-lab quiz associated with every lab, and you will have to complete it before lab time. And it will be online, and it will be graded mostly online. Okay? So there will be an assignment for pre-lab quizzes every week. Okay. All right, so this is what you need to know in terms of Canvas. If you have any questions, please reach out to us, to me, or any of the TAs. Now, under syllabus schedule and student learning outcome, you will find the syllabus for the class, the schedule, so that you know when it's going to be taught, when each topic will be taught, and then the student learning outcome. So let me walk you through the syllabus just briefly. So we already introduced ourselves and what the course is about here. You would, of course, it is analysis. So we're going to learn a lot of different analytical methods for different components of food. And I'll give you an intro in a minute. But chemistry is prerequisite, but sometimes we allow students to take it concurrently. So it's fine if you're taking it concurrently. And these are the textbooks required. And then I covered the instructional material. And then the laboratory, I also told you the main things. Next week on Wednesday, I'll go more into detail of that. Course objective, university outcome, lecture topics. So I'll let you navigate through that. And then we have 13 labs. Also let you navigate through that. It's a writing intensive course, and I think this is the last year that it will carry a W. Next year, we'll put it on the food quality class, will carry a W. I don't know who came up with food analysis, a lab class, 4 credit to be writing intensive. That's before my time. I did not choose it. So the reason they would put it probably because they thought there is a lot of lab reports, a lot of writing, but writing intensive, what it entails is you write, you get graded, you're given comments, and then you correct, and you submit again. In food analysis, we cannot do this exercise, but we can give you comments to improve your next lab report. So that's what we do and what we will continue to do this semester. Hopefully next semester, the writing will be less. You still have to, students will still have to write lab reports, but it will be even less. I mean, I did reduce the amount of writing over time a lot, but there is some element of a little bit of writing in the lab reports. Okay, these are the distribution of the points. you'll see there are a lot of opportunities to earn points. So if you don't do well in one quiz, the life doesn't end. We're always going to have opportunities to do well, to get more points. I don't have a midterm and a final. Points are distributed across a lot of different things. 2 quizzes, a midterm, a final. But also, if you see, the lab reports have a big chunk of the grade. And usually, although it takes a little bit of time to put together a lab report, but most students do well on lab reports. So there's an opportunity to gain points there. There are points for the pre-lab quiz, points for maintaining a lab notebook, and I'll talk about that in lab next week, but do bring with you a lab notebook. And then participation. I'd love to hear from you. Of course, now I've been talking, but I will ask a lot of questions and I would like you to participate. Answering wrong is expected. Why is it expected to answer wrong? Why do I expect that you don't know the answer? What? Anybody? You will get participation for answering. And say your name first. Lizzie. Yeah. Yes, because why are you taking this class if you know the answer? You know the answer for anything, you will be not in this class. Anyway, so I expect wrong answers. When you get a correct answer, also this is great, but expectations are you don't know the answer. So answer, your wrong answer will give you +2. So you get a participation point. If you ask a question, you get a participation point. If you have a comment about something we're talking about, you also get a participation point. Maybe not on your favorite movie. You might not get a participation point on that one, but okay. So the attendance, it is expected you come to class. This is the best way of learning. I record the lecture not because you are, you don't have to come. I record it because if you miss the concept and you want to listen to it again, it's there. That's the reason why I record. All right, so expectation is for you to come in person. Expectation is for you to do your assignments, to be involved, and then you get points for that. Okay. So there are more about lab reports and which I'll cover in lab next week. Extra credit opportunities, sky is the limit. Well, of course, there is a limit though, up to 30 points of extra credit, but I give a lot of opportunities to solve problems in class. You just have to solve them and hand in your paper, you get your extra credit. Usually it's +2, sometimes it's +5. Sometimes I'd say, okay, here's a practice sheet. It is not a required submission, but if you submit it, you get extra credit. So this is also to help you if you didn't do well on the quiz, you have your extra credit bank to guide you and give you the grade that you're looking for. Another thing I do to encourage attendance, at any day I will walk in and say, everybody in the class will get 10 extra points. Just when I feel good. I don't feel good often. Actually, I do feel good in time, but all right, so it happens once in a semester. So that's, you will get another 10 extra credit. So one thing I say to my students always, it's not about the points. I don't want you to be fixated about grades. I'm just demonstrating that there are so many ways you can get points in this class. My main focus is learning. So if you come to this class knowing 20% of the material and you get out of it knowing 60% of the material, that's a success. Okay, so that's my focus, is not really to let you fear your grade, to let you relax and learn. Okay. So one thing, these are the, typical grading scale, points and letters. Extra credits sometimes help you if you're at B+, A little bit of extra credit brings you to A minus, so consider that as well. There are a couple of things that I want you to pay attention to here in the syllabus that is related to academic dishonesty is the use of AI. You know, everybody use AI, but here is a description of what is not allowed and what is allowed. Please read that. Your work should be your own, but do not trust ChatGPT to give you the correct answer. And this is not academic honesty if you have your ChatGPT answer or do your assignment for you. So please, your work is your own, but you can ask ChatGPT to correct a sentence grammatically, for example. That's fine. That's okay use of AI. All right, please, this is important. I added this semester to this syllabus because of the excess use of AI. I just want you to know the expectation. Okay, so this is the syllabus, so please do read through it so that you know more detail as needed. And the course schedule is right there for you, tells you important dates like quiz, for example. When is quiz 1? When is the midterm? When is quiz 2? And so on, right? So it's good to check, and then also the final. One thing we will try to implement this year, was Gray's idea, is to have a study hour. Right, Gray? Do you want to talk about it a little bit? It's your idea.
I don't know. I thought we would maybe be able to meet sometime, figure sometime to figure out a meet. And then, maybe before like a first exam or quiz or whatever, and just go over stuff. Because there is a big review at the end, that was really helpful for the final. But having one of those at the beginning, would be really.
Yeah, I usually do, like Gray said, a review session at the end of the semester for the final. But Gray suggested, you know, each TA, they have an office hour. But if we can find an hour for all the TAs and you guys to do review before a quiz or an exam, that would be helpful. And I can come in too if there are questions for me during that hour. But it will be outside of class just because we don't have class time. That's what you were thinking, Ray, right?
Yeah.
And we will let you know ahead of time and try to find a time that would work for most of you. Okay. All right, so that's the schedule. The last thing here I want to show is the student learning outcome. So what do we expect you to learn? There is the general ones for the entire class, and then there is the section specific, or there are the section specific ones. So these could be like a study guide. You know, I call them student learning outcome, but they're like study guides. You can look at each one as when you're studying for the first few chapters. Can I explain the need and the application of official methods of analysis? Yes, I think I can, and I can after studying. Then check, you can. All right, so this is kind of, you'll find these outcomes for every section. Don't overlook them. You can just, when you're studying, you can look at those after you study to see if you're comfortable answering these questions. Okay. There are a lot, like I said, opportunities to learn in this class. There are a lot of documents that help you learn, but we are also here to help you. Myself, I don't bite most of the time, but there are all of the TAs that are well-versed as well, and they will tell you when they don't know. They will tell you, ask Pam. So please use us as your resource. Okay. Any questions about the class, the layout? Yes, go ahead. Your name first, because we.
Elegant. And I just got a question about the quizzes and exams.
Yeah,
Are they in person or are they online?
no, they are all in person. Okay. I don't know if online for some reason. I like to see it, but the online will be the pre-lab quizzes.
The lab quiz on that.
Yeah, the pre-labs before your lab, you will have a very small quiz, because orientation, that will be on. Everything else will be. most of your, well, all of your quizzes, are, short answers, but, not multiple quizzes. Okay, any other question?
My session.
Yeah.
The online free lab quizzes are more just to see if you're prepared and know over the materials. They're not to like really test your knowledge on things. It's just to make sure that you're prepared for lab, and that you've done some of the things that you need to do. And that would be also do that.
Yeah, they are like, we literally tell you where to find the information. We can tell you, go to slide 4 of the left, and then you answer this. And this just helps you come to lab prepared, know what it's about. And they also came up with the idea to give you a second. Can you talk about that?
So you'll be able to, like, I mean, some of them are math questions, simple math questions. Some of them are math questions from last year. So hopefully it works well.
Yeah,
And so if you do make a mistake or those of you wrong, you can do it. If you run out of mistakes, you try, right? Just come in and talk to me.
yeah. So again, we are emphasizing, it's not about, scrutinizing you and reducing your grades, it's about making sure you learn. And that was a great idea from grades.
I'm Maddie, and do they open like the week before, or they only open the day?
No, they open, Gray, we said Wednesday or Friday. But they're still finding you, say your name and Maddie.
Is it Madeline?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I didn't put in the nickname Maddie. It's didn't I? No. No, or there another Maddie? Is there another? Oh, there. So what was it?
When do the free lab quizzes open?
Okay, when do we open them? You said Wednesday?
Yeah, hopefully today. But if not, tomorrow or.
Maximum by
Wednesday.
Friday, yeah. This
So
week,
not the week, like the week before.
no,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, so we always target Wednesday to have everything you need for lab before the next. But this, since it's the first week and they're doing it for the first time, we might need a couple of days.
I had to learn how to make this game this quiz.
Yeah, and I have to make sure you know. But yeah, so the first week, maybe today, tomorrow, Friday, but every other week. So, good. Any other question? All right. Very good. Don't be shy. Even if you remember later, you can send me an email. Happy to answer questions. Okay. All right. So we can, I think I covered everything. So the project, I like to bring it up because for the first, maybe, I would say 10 years that I taught this class, there was a project. But every year, student evaluation of teaching, this should be a 5-credit class. And then finally I said, oh, well, I'm gonna remove the project. Although it's a great learning experience because it's a semester-long project where you take all your learning, you pick one food product, and you lay out what analysis needs to be done on the ingredient, what analysis should be done during production, and what analysis needs to be done on the final product. And then you're assigned an industry mentor that will guide you related to the food product that you choose. Wonderful exercise, but granted a lot of it. So I reluctantly, sadly, listened to the student and removed the project, but it's there on the website, one example for you to look at if you're interested. So it's no longer a requirement, but I always like to mention it because in my view, it was a great learning experience. Okay, so let's get to it. And now the juicy stuff. What did you hear about this class? Is it hard? All right. Who thinks or heard that it was a hard class? All right. Who heard it was easy? You don't. You didn't hear anything. You're coming. Good. You know what? It is a little bit hard, but it's how you look at it. It's going to make you work, that's for sure. But again, we have so many resources and we're here to help you. It's not going to be easy without work from you or from us. Is it haunting? Did you hear that people have nightmares when they take this class? Gray, did you have nightmares?
Yeah. I do.
Well, it's going to haunt you, let me tell you, because every week there is a lab report. There could be preparation for a quiz, for an exam, but maybe not haunt you in a bad way, might haunt you for learning purposes. But yeah, you're going to think of food analysis a lot. You're going to think of me a lot, hopefully in a good way. You're going to think of the TAs a lot, how wonderful they are. Kelly's doing her best to make your lab experience very good. So, is it going to be challenging? Yes. What's in life you learn from that is not challenging? If something is easy and not challenging, you're not going to learn anything. Take it from me. So yes, it's going to be challenging. Is it going to be boring? Please don't say. You can say yes. You know, this is not a class for everybody. Everybody has different things they like. For me, food micro is boring. Don't tell David Baum. Not David Baum, is gone. Steve Bowden, don't tell me. Well, you know, every person have their likes and dislikes, and expect that not everybody's gonna fall in love with the material. But I promise you, I'll try to make it as engaging as possible. If you go to the food industry to work, there will be a theme where you really need to know this material. No matter what your job is, you really need to know this material, whether you're in quality or R&D or even in management, you will really need to know this material. Interesting, I'll make sure do the best I can to present the material in an interesting manner with stories and jokes. You know, the dad jokes, there is the mom jokes too. So, you know, my daughter knows all about that. Is it going to be useless? Never. I told you, you might find it useless during the semester, but after you graduate, you will find reasons to say, oh, I learned something and I'll find it useful somewhere. So keep that attitude. All right. Let's start. I have a few questions for you that are introductory to the entire class. And say your name first if you want to answer. Okay. What does food analysis entail out of all of the options? Raise your hand, say your name. Go ahead with your name.
Marie, I'm gonna say H.
You are absolutely correct, Marie. All of the above. In this class, though, we are not covering microbiological or sensory or even physical testing, although the book has some physical like rheology, color, but we don't get time to get to that section. So the class will focus on it. But food analysis is all of this. We analyze the sensory components, we analyze the microbiological components, chemical and physical. But in this class, it will be 8. All right. So why do we analyze the composition? First of all, when you hear food composition, what does that mean to you? Before you answer this question. When you hear food composition, what do you think of? Go ahead.
Scarlet.
You're not.
No, I'm Scarlet. Everything it's made of.
Everything is made up. Can you give me an example of something?
For example, cereal, I guess.
Cereal, but what is made up? Yeah, what's component of
Like
cereal?
grains, the water.
Water. All right, so water is a component. What other you have? Go ahead, say your name. Hey.
I would think
Macro and macronutrients. Katie is Catherine, right? Yeah. You're Catherine. Okay. I have the nicknames on mine. I should give you those. Yeah, so when we think about composition, we think about water. What you said earlier is not wrong. It's called ingredients. and mostly it's plain sugar, salt, you know. So compositions like water, proteins, carbohydrates, fat, vitamins, minerals. So you have the macro and the micro, vitamins and minerals and micro. So what is the food made up of? What does it break down into? Okay, so why do we analyze the composition of food? Interesting. Can you guess? I'm fine.
I'm gonna say age.
It is all of the above. And I'll be giving you examples as to why what's the consumer demand? High protein. I love protein, right? So high protein. So I need to analyze if I want to put a claim on my label that says high protein, I need to have a minimum amount of protein per serving so that I can claim high protein because the consumer wants that. So to meet government requirements, so there is nutrition labeling. All right, so you have to do the composition, and what the label says should comply with what the actual composition is. That is one thing. We will talk about something called standard of identity. Have you heard of that term, standard of identity? For example, milk, full fat milk has a standard of identity. Skim milk has a standard of identity. So skim milk should have 0 fat, or what is rounded to 0 fat. We'll talk about rounding rules as well. Determine the nutritional benefits. Okay, am I getting my vitamin C, required vitamin C? Am I getting how much calcium I should get per day? So that is part of nutritional benefits. Quality control. What's my moisture? Am I going to have microbial growth? Is my moisture higher than what it should be? So, and so on. And I'll give you a lot more examples as we go. Okay. So here, let's break it down for consumers. If I get carried away, you can tell me time. Look at the time, we have 5 more minutes. Consumers. So consumers care for quality. So when I love chocolate, right? So when I go to buy a chocolate bar, I have certain memory of that chocolate, how it tastes, how it looks. And then if it's different each time, I won't buy that brand anymore. Okay, so if it's not as creamy, that means the fat content might not be the same, or if it's harder or gritty. So the consumer has specific quality standards that the producer should comply with. Okay. Safety. So safety is not only microbiological. Of course, we analyze the microbiological components, but composition. Can you give me an example where it is a safety concern, yet it's not a microbe? Can you think of it? Go ahead, say your name first. Emma.
Maybe some certain foods,
Yes.
like sugars or something like that. They can consume certain.
Okay, so yes, let me put it in a safety perspective though. Let's say you're lactose intolerant. So this is sugar. If you're lactose intolerant, you want to know if you have lactose in your sample and how much it is. Sometimes if it has 0. whatever 1 parts per million, you can tolerate. So lactose intolerance. Okay, what else safety? Yes, go ahead. Exactly, beautiful. Cross-contamination from allergens. You know how you buy an M&M that is chocolate, doesn't have peanut? It says on it may contain peanut or be processed in a peanut processing plant, because it could be a cross-contamination. And they are, by law, they should put that on the packet. Or another safety. All right, say your name, sorry. Is
Like if you're taking a supplement for a certain vitamin, already being supplementing the food could be toxic.
exactly. A lot of vitamin D is not good. We need vitamin D, but a lot of it is not good. So usually fat soluble vitamins, you have a maximum of what you can get because you can store excess amount and they become toxic. Another example of safety, if you have glass chips, for example, these are physical, not chemical, or metal pieces. So you don't want those in your food. So we do look for those as well as part of quality and fair safety for the consumers. Another thing, if you have contaminants like melanin, adulteration, you've heard of it? I can give you examples more about it later. So some people have sensitivity to sulfites, for example. So yeah, so safety can be so many different things, not just microbial safety. Okay, so we have to analyze for those. Nutrition and health, I gave you an example: high protein, low sugar, low fat, low salt is a big one as well. So we need to reach a certain level so we can say fat-free or low fat or low sodium. But in order for us to make those claims, it has to be below a certain number or amount. That's why we analyze. Last one before I let you go, a health claim related to coronary heart disease or cardiovascular disease may involve the analysis of the following. Let's see what you know here. You can guess, Emma. Emma, right? Yeah, you can guess. You want to guess? A and
See,
A and C. It's a good guess, but anybody else want to guess something different? Go ahead,
Maybe just
Lizzie. I got her. Huh? You know, that's a safer one, but the real answer is A and B. So phytochemicals are phytoestrogens or antioxidants that have, like tocopherols, for example, or carotenoids. They have antioxidant activities that could be good for heart disease. So we analyze for those. Saturated fat, not good for you. We want mostly unsaturated fat. And then free fatty acid, right? I told you it's a good acid, but free fatty acid is usually analyzed when you're looking for acidic, typical characteristics. So the more free fatty acids you have, the higher potential of oxidation, because fatty acid in an ester has less, they are less prone to oxidation than free fatty acid. And also free fatty acid have their own taste as well. So free fatty acid would be for acidity measurement, not necessarily for. Okay, so that's the differentiation. And right on time, I'll let you guys go. I'll see you on Friday. Thank you.
the